Jason, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning everyone. My name's Jason Curry. First of all, I live in Harvey Bay. I'm a proud young bachelor man. I'm actually part of a fourth generation family of miners. My grandfather worked in the mining industry, my father, and now myself. So I come from a family that, well, first of all, I was born and bred in Mount Isa, typical one-horse mining town, far north Queensland. I grew up there, and but Harvey Bay's been predominantly home for me. But not only that, this is where I've got my cultural ties as well.
Excellent. And what is your actual role in the resource sector? What is your job title?
I'm actually, by trade, a senior fleet management engineer, by trade. What that means is my job is to train people how to use GPS real-time fleet management systems. Back in the old days of open cut mining, you'd have somebody that would look over a pit with a pair of binoculars and a two-way radio and lock a certain number of trucks to a shovel and so on. But of course, with the use of technology, GPS technology, these days, these are all done by computers with operators in a control room.
Okay. Wow. And Jason, just quickly tell us, whereabouts are you working? Is it in Queensland or?
Yep, I actually work for BHP Billiton, Nickel West. We mine nickel, which is stainless steel. And I've been working in WA for about 4.5 years here now.
Okay, all right. Do you want to pass over to Sylvia? Sylvia, you want to just quickly introduce yourself to everyone?
Yep. First of all, I'd like to pay respects to and acknowledgement to the traditional owners of this land, past and present. My name's Sylvia Cobbo. I'm Waka Waka woman from Cherbourg. I've been living in Harvey Bay for the last 10 years. So.
And what are you doing in the resource sector currently? What's your job title?
I'm a haul truck operator.
Did everyone hear that? Can we hear Sylvia okay? She's a haul truck operator over in
the Pilbara, WA. We mine iron ore. Work in production.
Yep, awesome. And how did you first come to get interested in the resource sector?
I've always been interested in getting into the mining, but just never did it because I didn't have any experience. I went in as a clean skin, so I had first time on mine site and first time in WA. So yeah.
So all the way in West Australia. So did you just have to fly over back and forth? Is that what happens? Yeah,
it's FIFO, so fly in, fly out. I went in as an Indigenous traineeship. The first 3 months I had to pay for my own flights to get there. And we were just on one wage at the moment with my partner.
Yeah.
And it was pretty hard at first, because I was sleeping at the airport for the first 3 months.
Sleeping at the airport?
Yeah, because we couldn't afford accommodation.
Wow.
But I'm a pretty determined person, so we made it work for the first 3 months.
Yeah.
And now I'm deemed as competent. I've got passed out. I'm an experienced haul truck operator, and I've been there for 13 months now, so they put me on another equipment now, so I'm doing a water cart.
Okay. So when you were applying, did you apply directly to a mining company, or did you do a training program? Because we've heard today already that there are lots of different pathways to get in. So what did you do specifically to get your job?
I got on the internet, looked at websites, and I was mainly looking at their safety records and their family-friendly rosters and that, which one that suited me. And I mainly looked at these and Rio Tinto.
Okay.
And I've been applying like over 14 months before I actually got an interview.
You were applying for
Over
14
months, yeah, like so.
Just online, clicking apply,
Yeah, just
apply.
online, yeah, applying.
14 months before anybody called, before you heard anything.
Before I got my first phone call.
Okay. And then when you got that phone call, they said, come over to Western Australia.
Yeah, I was excited at first until they said, do you realise it's at Western Australia? And I said, oh, okay. Because I haven't been there before, and my family was in Queensland. So.
Wow. Jason, your experience as far as getting into the resource sector, did you do a training program? Did you keep applying sort of like Sylvia, or was there another way that...
Yeah. Two.
Yep.
Yep. Well, first of all, I actually, prior to going into the mining industry, I actually entered into the mining industry through the hospitality catering side of things. Back in 1998, I'd actually entered the catering industry, which was catering for the mining company at the time. I was working as a night manager. I think I was on a great salary of about $21,000 a year. And my auntie, who had given me a bit of a heads up that there was a construction job for within catering as a cleaner, utility worker, and they were paying like $60-something thousand to be a cleaner, working a roster of 4 weeks on, 1 week off, 10-hour days, and I mean, the thing that got me was the salary, $60,000,
4 weeks, sorry, so that 4 weeks on.
4 weeks straight, yep.
And then how many days off?
7 days off.
7 days off.
Yep.
So that's generally a bigger roster, or?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, we're talking about back in 1998.
Okay.
I'd applied for the job as a utility worker because, at the time the catering industry was screaming out for experienced people. I did have transferable skills, and I had previous cleaning and kitchen hand experience, but the other key thing was I had a HR licence, which I'd acquired through the resort that I was working for.
So what's a HR licence for those?
It's a heavy restricted.
Heavy restricted.
Heavy restricted means, which is usually a classification that's quite desirable for mining companies. I'm not saying it's a guarantee that you'll actually get a role within the mining industry if you have a HR licence, but it certainly helps. It shows the mining industry that you're capable of operating, a large truck. Basically.
Okay, so it's about driving large vehicles.
Large vehicles, yes,
okay.
Heavy vehicles.
And where did you do that training?
I acquired that ticket through the resort that I was working for at the time,
okay.
driving buses. But basically that was my transferable skills that got me into catering, to which I did that for 3.5 years. But in the 3.5 years, or the last 2 years of working with the catering industry, I'd actually pestered the mining company. Back then it was Roach Brothers, which had a joint venture with Henry Walker Elton up at Century Mine.
So by pestered, you mean?
Yes.
What did you do? Nagging. Begging.
Yeah.
Asking.
Look, I didn't know too much about driving dump trucks, and I've actually, you guys probably see some photos up there that I took there when I used to work up there quite a few years ago. And you'll see one of the trucks there, and they're pretty amazing to look at, and especially when you see them the first time, you think, wow, you just want to drive one of those.
Yeah, they're huge.
And so by this time, I was like 28, 29, I think I was, and I hadn't decided what I wanted to actually do with my career. All I wanted to do was just make some money, and try and make a better life for myself, I guess, because at the time I had a young family.
Yeah.
So that was my reasons, for first of all.
That's one of the things that attracted you to the
That's
resource
right.
sector.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, I didn't have a career goal or anything as such.
Yeah.
So yeah, once I'd seen the size of these trucks, I just had to drive one. That's all. That was my goal, and that was to drive a truck. I wasn't concerned about too much about the salary, even though I knew it was quite good and a lot more attractive than as opposed to working within the catering industry.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a catch-22. I mean, when you're driving a bus and cleaning, there's certainly not the desirable and attractive skills that a mining company is going to want to take you on.
Yeah.
So I did pester them for 2 years until they finally gave up and said, look, do you still want a job? Because they'd actually been going through quite a bit of a turnover over the years and said, look, do you want a job? And I said, yeah. And
so would you, because we know that a lot of people sort of get entry-level jobs, they can be doing asset maintenance, so cleaning dongers and things like that. Would you say that that's a really good, like if someone offered you an opportunity like that, like it's important to still take those even though it might not be exactly where you want to get? Is it better to be on site at all than...
It is. Look, if it is good to be on site so that you can get an understanding. I mean, catering, they work just as long hours. The work's a lot more harder and it's a lot more physical.
Okay.
So you get a better appreciation for the actual lifestyle requirements, that's expected from yourself. Which is you're working long hours, long days, you're away from family. So there's the your social life diminishes straight away, pretty much. But in saying that, you meet a lot of good people, make a lot of good friends. If having the experience working within catering, I guess, kind of prepared me for the expectations for working in the
That's great.
mining company.
That's great. And Sylvia, you said you've got family as well. And what, if any, what do you think are the real benefits to your family and your extended family and the community for being a part of this industry?
Yeah, it has benefits up to my family and myself personally, financially, and and there's different paths you can take within the mining industry. Like from what I'm doing now, a truck driver, there's avenues you can continue on with that career and go higher.
So there's training available, there's career development.
You can do more training and get more equipment under you, and then you'll be called an all-rounder, or you can go a different area. And my goal is eventually to get into HR.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And training and assessor.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here, but just before we go, I just have one last question. What would be the number one best piece of advice you could give? Because we've got a lot of people here in this room who are interested in working in this sector, just don't know where to start. And what would be your best piece of advice for people who are wanting to get a job in this industry? We'll start with you, Sylvia, if you like.
Yeah, it is hard, but just keep pushing yourself and just think about what you're doing it for in the first place, like your family, and getting ahead. And with persistence, you'll get there. 12 years down the track, I don't regret it. Sleeping at the airport.
Sleeping at the airport.
That's right.
That's good. And Jason, what would your piece of advice be?
Identify your goals, or your goal. Identify your goal that you choose, and once you've identified your goal, find out what's the next step from there. And basically, it's educating yourself. Yeah. And that doesn't necessarily mean going back to school, whatever. But if your goal is to get a job with this particular area of mining, and once you make inquiries and they say, look, you need to do this or you need to do that, well, then go out and do it. Educate yourself, but be persistent, and don't give up, because you'll get knockbacks, and but as long as you persist with it, the rewards long term are good.
Excellent. Can we just thank Sylvia and Jason? Thank you.